Why, hello there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, my name is Mr. DB333, and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4000 Week Reich as Yeshuv. Last time we were here together, well, it's happening. It is certainly happening. Going to reinforce that defensive line. The Arab High Command has seized control of Jerusalem. Meanwhile, we are kind of just twiddling our thumbs as the Arab Salvation Army has risen up against us as well. It's not looking too hot right off the bat, but there may yet be hope. We're going to get working on... Actually, maybe we should look at some more defensive options right now. Research. See if we can't get a scientist. Let's get Uziel Gal. Oh, we already have some scientists. Okay, I didn't realize that. Okay. We'll just leave that be for now, then. And now we will, bus massacre at Kfar Sirkin. Etel bombing at the Haifa oil refinery. Muslim brothers enter from Egypt. The headlines do not stop. Haganah convoys to Jerusalem fired upon. Carnage at Balad al-Shaikh. Car bomb explodes at Ben Yehuda Market. Landmine detonates on British military train. Charles put the newspaper down and opened the window to an empty street. The deafening silence was ironic. Just a few kilometers from here in Jaffa, the battle had already begun. An occasional mortar fire could be heard in the distance, but the streets were empty. Did it have to come to this? He asked himself. When the treaty was signed 5 years ago, the people were hopeful, and although it did not live to the expectations of many, it was not a step in the right direction. How did we end up here? And so it has come to this. Ever since the formation of the Mandate for Palestine following the First World War, many do not believe that the future nation would see a peaceful resolution to its conflict. These wars were briefly extinguished by the signing of the Jerusalem Accords in 1947. However, London's failure to enforce the treaty and the eventual assassination of Albert Einstein in July all but confirmed the demise of Britain's half-hearted attempt to maintain the peace. Although the British now remained nominally in control of the region until the now extended withdrawal period expired in July of 1953, Jewish and Arab paramilitaries have already seized control of most of the country. Not many can predict how this conflict will end, but it will surely alter the course of the Middle East, perhaps forever. On thy walls, O Yerushalayim. No, speak of the devil. Rise to your feet, O children of Israel. No longer will we stand around, waiting for our turn to be struck down. Our battle has finally begun. Well, we got... Huh. Oh, that's my wallet that fell out. Okay. I'm gonna grab my wallet that just dropped down. Alright, what do we got? I have an appeal to Washington or a flight to Delhi. Well... So it begins. And you know, so far so okay. Do I want to just... I can't deploy these guys quite yet. Okay. Well, let's sound the shofar. I'm just going to increase our population by a crazy amount. My God. Across the continents, in all nations, there are Jewish people willing to fight for their people. We must send out a call for aid, and our brothers will surely answer. Well, you know, it's not glamorous by any means, but we're hanging in there. Let's go ahead and appeal to Washington in the meanwhile. Yeah, Washington. Although allies to our enemies in Britain, it's only natural for the United States to support our battle. With a large Jewish population out of any country, support from America will provide us with legitimacy to the world. So the plane landed in Washington. Moshe Charette looked outside of the snow covering the ground. Although this obviously wasn't the first time he'd seen snow, definitely had been a while. Reminded him of childhood in Ukraine. Certainly not for the better. Descending down the stairs, he was welcomed by a cold he could never get used to again. He entered the car and was driven to the White House. Ben-Gurion had stayed behind in Israel due to the war, with Charette being sent out to hopefully secure much-needed support from the United States. But he was unoptimistic. The British were continuing their support of Jordan and Egypt. It was only a matter of time before Israel would be dragged into war with them too. Entering the building, he was amused at the sheer size of it. A bit out of touch, no? He spoke to himself. Inside, he met President Adlai Stevenson. The two men shook hands and began to speak about the situation. A few hours passed and the meeting was nearing the end. Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Charette. It's hard for me to get behind supporting you in terms of our geopolitical situation. With Britain supporting their allies in Jordan and Egypt, it's going to be hard to convince them, ignoring the fact that you revolted against them. Charette could see the president was conflicted. Geopolitical situation. The geopolitical situation that the Nazi butchers of Europe have wiped out our people. 8 million, Mr. President. If we lose this war, there will be no more Jewish people to speak of. The president was speechless. The United States stood by and watched while Hitler wiped us out, Mr. President. You have a chance to redeem your nation here. Otherwise, the history books will remember you as the man who let the Jewish nation die. I truly apologize, Mr. Charette. It's not within my power. Well, that went great. Well, let's go to Delhi then. The Republic of India has shown itself to be a fierce enemy of the British. For our shared foe, we can surely find a friend in them. Oh, there we go. As the plane landed in Delhi, Moshe Charette looked outside of the fog covering the city. The revolution had taken its toll on the nation, he could see, and was not personally too supportive of the cabinet's decision to request any aid. Once he was descending down the stairs, Charette thought to himself how the two nations' fights against the British occupation were not too dissimilar. He entered the car and was driven to the chairman's residence. Ben-Gurion stayed behind in Israel, with Charette being sent to hopefully secure much-needed support from India, which is believed to be the soon-to-be Israeli state's most likely ally due to a common enemy, the British. Entering the building, he met Chairman Subhas Chandra Bose. The two men shook hands and began to speak about the situation. Charette began explaining to the chairman how the Israeli national movement could help benefit Indian interests in the Middle East, stressing that the new state would soon fight the British-backed monarchies of Jordan and Egypt. I'm sorry, Mr. Charette. It's hard for me to get behind supporting you in terms of our political situation. We run the risk of inciting our already unsupportive Muslim populace. Chairman, the so-called free nations of the West stood around while the Nazi butchers of Europe wiped out our people. This is your chance to go down in history as the man who saved the Jewish nation from total extermination. The hypocrisy of the West will be on full display. Mr. Charette, you make a good argument. India will support your cause. Well, there we go. Now let's get working on Plan Delette. With Jews across the world rising to the cause and our equipment supply secured, it's time to go on the offensive. We must secure a link between our isolated villages and unite the front line. Well, where are those arms? Let's get... let's get some guns going off the bat. Probably gonna need guns most immediately to reinforce our guys. From there, let's get some support equipment to reinforce. Haha, rest in piss, bozo. The cafe was emptier than usual. This was not anything out of the ordinary for the past couple of months. Although the fighting was rather disorganized and not threatened the big cities yet, many preferred to stay home. An escapee from Europe, Miriam wasn't bothered. She'd seen worse and instead opted to enjoy the shorter wait times. The radio was always on, as in most places, usually talking about the war situation. The barman approached her and placed down her coffee. Miriam raised it to take a sip. Suddenly, radio broadcast abruptly changed. You think it'll be good news this time? Doubt it. Maybe a new offensive started. She barely had got time to listen before she spat out her coffee. Was it true? He was gone. The man who orchestrated it all. Her mother, her father, her brother. She would never see them again. What was this, redemption? Miriam collapsed to the floor in tears as the noise of the celebrations outside grew louder and louder. And our oppressor will fade away as a shadow. Beautiful. Let's get working on some defense. The knight carries a knife. Our populace in Jerusalem is starving. The blockade on the road is draining their supplies. It's not long until the city must surrender. We must break through. Oh yeah, we're whooping them right now. It's going all right. Well, we also have the Declaration of Independence coming up soon. The British remain nominally in control of the Mandate's region until the withdrawal period expiration on August 8th. If we declare independence beforehand, we run the risk of antagonizing them. As such, we must wait until their withdrawal. However, due to the fact that our Declaration of Independence will likely come with an invasion from the rest of the neighboring Arab countries, it's of most importance that we secure as many vital cities before we are forced to fend off their onslaught. Yeah. Speaking of onslaught, we might be about to lose in Haifa over here. How are we doing casualty-wise? We are, now it's comparable. We're still beating them by and large, which is nice to see, but you will see the open road. Let's get some defense going. Okay, these are specific areas, okay. It's time to launch one last offensive to break through on the Jerusalem road. We must break through. The fate of our holy city depends on it. Okay, so once we get that kicked off, I think we'll go ahead and change up. Because right now these guys are just kind of running into us. Alright, we're gonna let these guys run out their attack on us. Get some horde weapons going. And in the meanwhile, let's get a desert wind blows. Ben Gurion has remarked that in the Negev, the Israeli nation will be tested. He is completely right. An offensive into the desert, splitting the enemy forces in two, is our greatest hope of victory. And there we are. Just let them keep throwing themselves against us. Deploy. Also, we'll deploy these extra guys. We're going to need the extra manpower. Let's see if we can't push in and take Jerusalem with this extra support. No, it doesn't quite look like we will. And that's probably alright, honestly. Oh shoot, we should, the sun rises on Hanita. The Northern Front against the Arab Salvation Army is fundamentally different. The ASA's modern equipment from Germany is used to keep artillery great effect. Our best bet is defending key villages along the Jezreel Valley in order to cut their supply lines. Yeah, another guy to reinforce that. No, not quite. Okay. Well, the good news is that we're wearing them down pretty well. We can keep them pressured in little offensives like this. We'll be doing a-okay. That's not want to cooperate right now. Let's go southwards to Eliat. For our preparations complete, we must thrust us southwards into the desert, split the enemy forces like Moses split the Red Sea. And that could work, potentially, if we head down here and expand our defensive measures. I see some great use we can get there. Let's get some more guns. And let's get some support equipment going as well. And there goes the German Civil War. Only one will prevail. Let's get our research going. Single receiver action. See if we can't do any pushes. Maybe? Oh. Just got reinforced. Just these two. Maybe we can do a little push into Jerusalem. That seems a little less likely. Right, you guys just fall back. Maybe now? Oh. There we go. Okay. We've got a little movement going now. Okay, you guys stop attacking it there. It's not going to be much use at this point. How are we doing? We're struggling. This is gonna be rough. We knew that coming into this. It's really just a game about surviving them, but we're doing pretty well at that. Let's see if we can't push into... Keep you there. You guys just hang tight. Don't... Back when Goldemir had met with Abdullah, for the first time there was a real hope that Israel could exist in peace with its neighbors. Despite this, the situation has rapidly deteriorated since then. With the gradual escalation of the conflict from violent street fights to a full-scale civil war, it has become increasingly likely that an Arab League intervention will take place once Britain completes their withdrawal on the 8th of August. Despite having constant communications with King Abdullah since then, it has appeared more and more so that the king will likely succumb to the Arab League's pressure for participation to an intervention against the soon-to-be Israel. A last-ditch attempt to prevent Jordanian participation in the invasion, Golda Meir has once again set out to meet with Abdullah. Already, Abdullah has refused to meet at Nahariya, claiming it's too dangerous, and Meir wishes to meet him. She would have to make her way to Amman. Abdullah has also refused her request to warn the Arab Legion of expected visitors, citing concerns of being accused of collaboration with the Yishuv. Despite being warned of the dangers, Meir has decided to make her way to Amman. Well, Godspeed. The following day, Golda Meir made her way to Haifa to begin the journey to Amman, accompanied by Ezra Danin, the head of the Arab section of the Haganah's intelligence arm. They began their journey towards Amman. When they reached the border at Nahariya, Meir was disguised as an Arab woman and entered the car of the associate of Danin, who would take them to Amman. The associate drove them to his home in Amman, where they would meet with Abdullah. As they were waiting, Meir spoke with the associate's wife, who ironically complained about the boredom of life in Transjordan. Meir almost wanted to laugh at how she would like some boredom in her life, but she stayed quiet. When Abdullah entered the room, he was pale and looked as if he was under heavy pressure. Danin translated between them as they spoke. "After everything, you have betrayed the promise we made?" Abdullah spoke, his face pale. "When I made the promise to you, I was under the impression that I am my own ruler and could do what was right in my eyes. But since then, I have learned that is not the case." He added that before he was alone. Now he was one of four. The four, Meir thought to herself: Egypt, Syria, Jordan, and Iraq. "Why are you in such a hurry to declare your nation?" What is the rush?" Abdullah asked. Meir responded that she believed that a rush would have waited 2,000 years years could not be called. The people who've waited 2,000 years could not be called in a rush. Please. You need to understand that this is not in my control. Can you not wait a few years? My country will take over Palestine. You will be represented in my parliament. There will be no war. Mayor told him it was not an option. Has everything we have done just been to represent in a foreign parliament? Look what the Germans have done to our people that they represent in their parliaments. If you have nothing to offer us today, we can meet in the future, after the establishment of a Jewish state. There is nothing left to discuss. War was inevitable. Road home was long and silent. A lesson we will never forget. Hopefully we'll be able to live to see the conclusion of this lesson. I'm going to leave things there, my friends. But thank you as always for watching. Like, so you have a like. If not, feel free to dislike. Leaving comments, feedback down in the comment section below. I read all the comments I get, and I do appreciate any feedback you might have for me. Check out my various links down in the description box below. Did we lose? Did we lose the Hoffa? Yeah, we lost it. Shoot. Well, let's try to take that. And until next time, my friends, I'm going to leave it there. But thanks so much for watching. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye now.